Welcome to the Second Win Boxing Media. I'm your host, Rashid Hammond, and alongside,
it's your boy, Caesar Fantastic.
well, today we have a very, very special guest in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I remember when I was a young kid growing up in D.C. as an amateur boxer, and I went to some fights in D.C. Armory, and I had the honor and the pleasure to see a brother that looks like me introduce fighters in such elegant form that it was just like it was like a goal to be able to have him introduce my name one day. That's how powerful it was to hear him speak. And when he spoke with passion, not only for himself, but also for the fighters that was in front of him. And it gave them a sense of pride. And this sport is so brutal, it still made you feel great when you were in there as he said your name. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no other than Henry Discombobulated Jones. How's it going, brother?
Man, you said it all, so that's it. Thank you. I'm gone. We're ready to do it, so let's step to it. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on the telecast, your podcast with Caesar Fantastic, man. I do recall you as an amateur, and you're a very good amateur as well. Matter of fact, I think you probably you were a lighter weight. You kind of like a super middleweight right now from the good living, but
Yes,
you were a very good lightweight boxer, as I recall, man. So I'm proud of your growth and what you've done and where you are today. So thank you for having me on.
And it's an honor, brother, man. Let's get to it, man.
Okay.
When did this passion start? What made you get involved into this? I looked at your information. I did my research on you, and I didn't know you had a BA in behavioral science.
That's correct.
Explain that journey first before we get into the boxing journey.
Okay. So I am a proud graduate of the first and oldest Black HBCU in the entire South, that's Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I did receive my bachelor's in behavioral science from there. After that, I obtained my master's degree in social work. And I started working with DC government in 1982. And I just recently retired a couple years ago, and working with youth, working with adolescents, teens, teen parents. I became the city supervisor for missing and runaway youth, which was a pressure cooker. But through it all, it was my passion to be that role model for youth, for young Black men in particular, because as the research has shown, most of them grew up in single parent households headed by females. And certainly nothing disparaging or condescending to say about single moms, because my mother raised 6 of us by herself. But a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. Let's just face it. They can do the best that they can, of course, but it takes a strong, positive male to help a boy become a man. He can't be a man until he see a man.
That's a fact, man. It's interesting that you brought that topic up. I was watching a young lady on television, I think it was yesterday, and her son was murdered due to breaking into someone's vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
And the young lady get on there and states that young man was her help and was the man of the household.
Yes.
And it kind of touched on something very deep within me. It kind of gives a diagnosis of the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, she said he was the man of the household, so he was responsible for, I guess, financially helping as well as
Yeah.
Probably may have to watch her and things, watch kids, because it was, she said she had 4 children.
Yeah.
Um, what's your take on here? If you didn't hear it, or if you did hear it, what's your take on such a situation where young man's out 4 in the morning breaking into someone's car and
Hmm.
was murdered due to
Yeah.
something of that nature?
Yeah. I stay up on current events. All politics are local first and then national second. And you certainly have to know what's going on where you live. And I followed this situation from its inception. I was over in Brooklyn area, Northeast DC, and it was young Karan Blake and two other young men, and they were in a stolen vehicle first of all, cruising around, and then they happened upon Quincy Street Northeast and looking into cars, trying to break into cars, and the homeowner heard something, ran out the house, and just tragic that he had to kill the 13-year-old. Now,
Mm.
he was 13. His mother, who you referenced, is 30. Do the math. That means she had him at 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I just told you, I work with teen parents. So that was tough for her, of course.
Mhm.
Tough for him to be that man in the house.
Mm-hmm.
13-year-old should never be the man of
Mm-hmm.
the house,
Fact,
ever.
fact.
Should have had mentors, should have had some positive older male role models to help him enjoy his childhood. Maybe the family was so financially stressed that he felt he had to go out and try to steal to provide for the family. I don't know, but yeah. Then she said, would it have made a difference if it was 4 a.m. or 4 p.m.? Crime is a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for that family,
Hmm.
and it should never have happened. I just don't know what was in the homeowner's mind that he had to shoot the kid.
Right.
He shot at the vehicle. The other two ran away, and Karan Blake, I think, panicked, didn't know where the shot was coming from, and ran towards the man.
Oh.
Oh.
So now, I guess maybe he feared for his life. Maybe he didn't know if the child was strapped or not, and was coming after him, and he
Mm.
he killed him. So, just a fortunate situation all the
Yeah.
way around.
Yeah, it
It's,
is.
it's tough, it's tough. And they charged the homeowner. They apprehended him. He's in lockup as we speak, awaiting trial. So I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
that's going to go. I
That's
don't
a
know.
that's a tough deal.
that's a one of those situations that we really, it's hard to get in, to take a side on that one, far as who was
Yeah,
right or who was wrong.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you been in the announcing ring announcing business for 35 years. The
yes,
only DC DMV area announcer, as well as the only African American announcer that done it on a national level all throughout the world. And
yeah.
let's start that journey from the beginning and how that started from the
Okay.
beginning.
A circuitous route, as I always say. I tried other things that failed miserably. Um, I think the seed was planted when I was in probably grade school. I was in those stage plays. Well, no, I wasn't in the stage plays. I was always the understudy to the main character, who was always
Mm-hmm.
a Caucasian male. Understand this? This is
Mm.
deep. So I think I was traumatized wanting to get on somebody's stage. They would have me, as they called it, waiting in the wings, right behind the curtain, whispering the lines to the actors. And I did
Mm-hmm.
it without a script because I had a photographic memory at the time. Still good now, but I mean photographic at the time. I could read a script, you know, 5 inches thick, and tell you what page a word was on. So
Wow.
they had me behind the curtain whispering lines to everybody, and I never got on stage. So when I got to DC in 1982, I'm from upstate Rochester, New York originally. Got my master's degree in 81 over at University of Maryland School of Social Work um, in Baltimore, and got the job with DC government in 82. So I tried other things to get on stage. I tried to be an actor. I was in a bit play Porgy and Bess, renowned played Porgy and Bess. And that didn't pay me well enough to go around the country with them. So I tried local play. And the guy told me after it was over, he said, "You have stage presence. I could see you playing Othello in about 40 years." I said, 40 years? Nah, man, I'm not waiting around. He said, "No, you got to go through that pain and that angst and anxiety and torture and tragedy." I said, "No, I don't. No, I don't." And I left that, right? 40 years. So
Oh
I
no,
tried to
that.
be a color commentator for boxing. At the time, the networks only wanted Sugar Ray Leonard and George Foreman.
Mhm.
Mm.
So that didn't work out. I went to the DC Boxing Commission with that same idea. The deputy commissioner at the time, may he rest in peace now, Mr. Gilbert Ware, he said, "Well, we don't have any TV contracts for you to be a color commentator, but you sound good. You sound good. You like you know what you're talking about." He said, "Well, if you want to be on the microphone, why not be the ring announcer?" I said, "No, I wasn't thinking
Mhm.
about that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about that." He said, "Well, there have never been any major black ring announcers in the history of boxing. Somebody got to be the first." And that's when that light bulb went off in my mind, that epiphany
Ding.
moment. Yes, you see something just for you. And I said, "Wow, you're right. I've never seen a black ring announcer." He said, "Somebody got to be the first one. Why don't you give it a shot?" And here we are 35 years later. Now, I did my research as well. There were two renowned gentlemen before me, but they never became mainstream. The first one was in 1947, named Joe Bostic out of
Mhm.
Sunnyvale, California.
Okay.
He was a real light complected guy. It took him 25 years. Now, this is 1947. Took him 25 years to break through, and he got up to Madison Square Garden and announced fights up there for a couple years. But that wasn't his passion. His passion was gospel, so he became New York City's most famous gospel DJ and
Okay.
left it alone. After him, that was 1972. After him, mid 70s, out of the Crocs gym, Emmanuel Stewart told me before he passed that he had a guy. He said, but the TV wouldn't let him get on the networks because he was real dark. He was real dark in complexion. And so mid 70s, Black Power was kind of coming into vogue then, but it wasn't really out then. So the networks weren't gonna let him get on. So Manuel Stewart told me the guy really died of a broken heart. He said he had a
Mhm.
Mm.
heart condition, but he said it was really a broken heart.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he asked me, he said, "Jones," he said, how serious are you about this?" I said, "Well, I think I'm very serious." He said, "I know you got the skill, but do you have the will?"
Mm.
I said, "Yes, I do, sir." And so here it is, 35 years later, I still have the will, and thank God I've even developed better skills. So the person who's helped me the most, two people, Michael Buffer, most renowned ring announcer that says, "Let's get ready to rumble." He's had me
Mhm.
on stage at Madison Square. I opened up Radio City Music Hall, Atlantic City, Trump, Taj Mahal. I was kind of naive then, Trump, Taj Mahal. Yeah. So Philadelphia, um, here in DC. I did all his undercards for years and years and years. And one night at RFK Stadium, you might remember, Riddick Bowe was the main event on HBO, and Roy Jones fought Bernard Hopkins that night.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
He asked me afterwards. He said, "Jones," he said, you definitely got the skills." He said, "I don't mind helping you, but why won't Don King and Rock Newman help you?"
Mm.
And in that moment, that let me know it wasn't about color. It was about a man's character.
That's right.
Mm.
Okay, so I don't even look at the color anymore because
That's right.
everybody that look like us, not for us and gonna help us, and everybody that don't look like us, not necessarily against us either. I
Facts.
go
Mm.
by the spirit of a person, you
That's
know,
right.
and that's what served me well. The other person that helped me the most is Mark Too Sharp Johnson. And I think he was even at this fight at the DC Army. And Mark put in his contract for me to be the ring announcer on ESPN.
Yeah, I was
Now,
there.
the night before that, we had the weigh in, and they tried to put me in a trick bag. They said, well, they told Mark and Ham Johnson, they said, well, we're bringing in a ring announcer. They said, no, you signed the contract and we're gonna have Jones as the ring
That's
announcer.
right.
So and Mark had written it in. Mark had written it in his contract, handwritten it in, and they signed off on it and didn't know. So they said, okay. They knew it. They had been slick, but then they
Right.
tried to be slick with me. They said, okay, Jones, we're gonna have somebody at ringside for you with cue cards. Nobody's ever at ringside with cue cards for a fight. So I stayed up
Doing
all
that.
night rehearsing, not just practicing, but practicing perfectly so that everything would be perfect. And it was. Mark scored a first round knockout, sensational. So the promoter, his promoter at the time, may he rest in peace now, Cedric Kushner, he came
Okay.
up to me afterwards. He said, "Oh, this was spectacular." I said, "Yeah, Mark is like that." He said, "Yes, he is, but I'm talking about you too." He said, "You mesmerized the crowd. I've never seen that before." You know, he said, "Would you like to go on the road with us?" I said, "What's the trick question or something?" Of course, I want to go. So Mark's next fight was on ESPN again in Atlantic City, and the main event was a former heavyweight, should have become champ, Ike Ibeabuchi. You remember
Yeah,
that
Oh
name?
Bucci.
yeah, yeah. I
Man.
remember him. Yes.
Got caught up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so he was the main event, and Mark was the co-feature, and I announced that one as well. And we were on the road, man. And then and Mark could tell you the story himself, so I'm not revealing his narrative, but he got caught up, with the domestic violence situation with his wife here, and that derailed his career. He went and did that downtime and came out, but it wasn't the same. It
Mm.
wasn't the same. But one bad decision could certainly turn things around. So that's what I try to teach the youth. As I said, I'm retired as a social worker, but I'm still very active in the community with the youth, and that's my passion. And of course, you mentioned passion to announce. Well, Buffer told me something 30 years ago. He said, "Don't worry if a fighter is undefeated or winless because they're putting their lives on the
Mm.
line when they get
Yes,
up in that
indeed.
square circle. So introduce each one the best of your ability because you just never know. So that's what I've done. So promoters over the years have told me I've been responsible for a few upsets that they didn't want because I pumped up the B side fighter so much
Yeah.
he fought like a world beater. Hey, don't hate on me. I'm just doing my job.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's all good.
Man, you definitely, man, is top. I mean, you when you go to the fights, you are the soundtrack of fight. It's just it your voice just when we step into that arena, your voice comes with the gloves, with the punches and the
Mm.
sweat and everything. It comes hand to hand with your voice, man. It's just
Mm,
it's a permanent soundtrack, in my
wow.
opinion, for this area, man.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you, man. I'm just trying to get, our colleagues like Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman, Black Prime with Zab Judah. I actually flew out to Omaha, Nebraska last month to meet the CEO of Black Prime, Mr. Desmond Gums.
Yeah,
So I'm at the weigh-in, and I see Zab on stage with the fighters.
yeah,
Now, I announced Zab's pro debut at Madison Square Garden, as I aforementioned with Buffer um, on HBO. And
Mm.
after the weigh-in, I'm talking to Christy Martin. Zab comes up to us, and he said, "Hey, Jones, you out here for the fight?" I said, "Well, I came out here to meet the CEO, Desmond Gums." Zab says, "I run this, quote unquote." I
Yeah,
said, "You run
yeah,
this?" He said, "Yeah, I'm the president of Black Prime."
yeah.
I said, "Oh
right.
man, that's even better, Zab. You know what I've been trying to do for 35 years, man." He said, "I got you, my dude. I got you, my dude." Well, make a long story shorter, he don't got me. And
Yeah,
so when I called him a
Right.
couple weeks later about the Adrian Broner fight card coming up in Atlanta, February 25th, and I laid it out. I said, "Man, this is the perfect storm." I said, "I can
mhm,
generate a lot of revenue in Atlanta." I've announced this several times. I got family, I got friends, I got a mega church behind me. I got
mhm,
my fraternity, other social fellowships, youth groups. I said, "Man, I can generate revenue." I
right.
said,
Mm-hmm.
"It's Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Your only black ring announcer on Black Prime in a
Can't go
black
wrong.
Mecca city.
That's
Like,
a perfect match.
Yeah,
what
perfect storm.
you know what he told me? He says, they like Lupe Contreras, Hispanic ring announcer. He's a
Mm.
minority. I
Oh
said,
my.
Zam, a minority, Zam? A minority?
On Black History Month.
So I had
we
to leave it alone, man. You can't force people to have your vision. They can
yeah,
Yeah.
can see it with you, hopefully, you
yeah.
know, and it could be some synergy and everybody can eat, but you can't force it on people. So I just left it alone, Hopefully, you know, he'll see it one day and talk to Mr. Gums and say, hey, I think, Jones need to be brought on board at least once a
At
year
least
for
once. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
February.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. At least let you go in
Oh
there. Oh, that's
man,
ridiculous.
I can't make this stuff up if I was GOP Congressman George Santos.
And it's amazing, man, how we do sometimes, man, with each other.
And we need to. And on that point, let me say this. Because I asked one of the promoters to tune in. I'm sure he is. That's Scott Cujo Sigmund. Do you remember him? Cujo out of Virginia. Tough fighter. He was a super middleweight champ, one of the lesser belts, but nonetheless a belt,
Okay.
and a very good record. Wound up fighting Roy Jones as well, and he's a promoter now out of Virginia, and he's actually bringing me on board March 18th to announce his fight in Waynesville, Virginia.
Okay.
So again, people that don't look like us don't necessarily, you know,
That's a
have
fact.
anything against us and
Yeah.
actually can help us. And so I appreciate you, Scott Cujo Sigmund, for bringing me on board for March
Most,
18th. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Definitely.
most definitely, man. Most definitely. It's opportunities there. You definitely worthy of any of it. I don't care if it's HBO on the Floyd Mayweather card again or whoever. You definitely can rock with the best of them
I
without
don't
a
get it.
doubt.
I don't get it. I really don't. I wasn't brought up like that, man. I was brought up to be a helper,
Right.
especially to those who are in need, who are deserving of it. It don't cost you a dime.
Exactly.
It only enhances your legacy to reach out to somebody else. I'm not asking for a hand out. I'm asking for a hand up.
That's right.
Somebody
Mm-hmm.
help those guys get on, right? So, I just don't get it. So I pray and I meditate daily, man, not to become bitter, just
Right.
to become better.
Right.
And, got to forgive them too.
Yeah.
So I've been able to do that. Before my mom passed, she told me, because I've been telling her the stories. She said, now I want you to go back to them two guys you was telling me about and forgive them. I said, what? She said, yeah, it's not for them, it's for you. You holding
Exactly.
yourself back, hating on them. And the two guys
Mhm.
she was referencing was Rock Newman and Don King. And I was able to forgive both of them. And, I'm happier ever since,
Yeah.
and, you know, God bless them. They
Yeah.
just didn't see the vision, I guess.
Yeah. It's I mean, you definitely worthy, like I said. Now let me ask you this. Out of all the fights that you had announced, what was one of your
Mhm.
most memorable moments?
Oh, man, indelibly etched in my mind. It was July 11th, 1996, Madison Square Garden. Buffer brought me in to do the undercard for Riddick Bowe and Andrew Galata.
Uh, bro.
And it turned out to be the worst riot in boxing history.
Yes, it
Bro.
was.
Oh my God. And I had my 15-year-old daughter in the audience with me.
Uh,
And
oh no.
when that melee broke out, she had the presence of mind to run outside. Okay.
Mm.
'Cause people were getting done up, man. I mean, done up. I seen
Wow.
former champion Shannon Briggs pick up a guy like he was Hercules. He got
Oh
his hands
wow.
and built. Oh, that's what he looked like. Picked the guy up and just
Uh,
tossed him, right?
oh
Oh
wow.
man.
One of the Polish fans picked up a folding chair, because they're metal chairs, and threw it
Hmm.
like a discus and hit
Oh
somebody in the head,
no.
knocked them out.
Oh.
God dang.
Another Polish fan, because at the time they let them bring the flag poles in the building.
Yeah.
Rammed the guy in the throat with the flag pole,
Oh
Oh
dropped
no.
him.
no.
Lou Duva had a heart attack right there in the ring.
Oh
Oh
God.
wow.
Him out on the stretcher. People was grabbing his rings and his watches off his hand and
Oh
arm.
man. Oh
Right,
man.
right.
New York.
Fans started going after Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. They
Uh,
hid behind Big George Foreman.
oh.
Go back on YouTube and look at it.
I
George Foreman
ain't
said,
stupid.
"Back up, son. I wouldn't do that if I was you." It respected George. Matter of fact, the networks respected George so much they gave him the biggest color contractor, color commentator contract in history.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's after that.
Yeah.
That's
Because
Yeah.
he
crazy.
Yeah.
protected
He
Merchant.
said,
Merchant was not well liked anyway. You remember
Nah,
when
they was
Floyd?
yeah,
Floyd
yeah,
didn't like
yeah.
him
No,
too
everybody
much at
wanted to
all.
go at Larry Merchant.
Exactly.
So I'm looking from, before all that happened, when I'm in the ring, of course, I'm keeping an eye out on my 15-year-old daughter. So I seen this huge man, bending over, whispering in her ear. And I'm like, what? So I get out the ring and I go over, to where we sitting. And I tap dude on the shoulder. It turned out to be former heavyweight champ Tim Witherspoon.
Oh wow.
I said, Tim, I said, Tim, you hitting on my 15-year-old daughter, man? He said, 15? Damn, Pops. 'Cause she didn't look. He said, damn, Pops. Everything was over
Oh
with that
man.
night. We all ended up at this pizza joint from across the street from Madison Square Garden, and Tim Witherspoon bought us a large pizza.
Okay.
Okay. That's what's
He's a good
up.
guy. He's a
That's
good guy. It was kind of a mistake
It's a
because
mistake, yeah.
a
when
mistake.
she was
Yes,
getting dressed
indeed.
that evening, I'm like, that's what you wearing?
Uh,
Oh, where does makeup come from? Yeah.
Oh man.
Love your
yeah.
daughter, Hezera Jones. She lives down in Atlanta. She's doing real well
Okay.
now. And her
Awesome.
daughter, I got to say this, Tajera, if she's tuning in, she's a filmmaker, and she's been on the scene of Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. And yeah,
Okay.
she's
Okay.
making her mark too. So yeah, love you, ladies. Thank you so much.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Hey.
Okay. Let's talk about your book
Okay.
entitled "More Than a
More than a
Notion,"
notion. Yes, sir.
and you had had Michael Buffett as the he did the
He wrote the
forward
forward. That's right.
forward he wrote the forward. Yeah.
That's right.
Explain
Right.
what gave you the motivation to write the book.
My mom, I wanted to write it and to get it published before she passed because I knew she was making that transition, having dealing with cancer. And I wanted to get the stories out because it's been nothing but miraculous in my family as I've seen it, man, from a young boy. Uh, the first memory I ever have in life is being high above a room, brightly lit, looking down on all these people with somebody underneath some plastic. When I became about 12, 13 years old, and that memory never went away, I asked my mother about it. I said, "Ma, I keep having this vision." She said, "Wow, I can't," and we never talked about it. She said, "I can't believe you remember that. You weren't even 2 years old." I said, "What
Mm.
vision?" She said, "That was you." She said, "You had double pneumonia." She said, "They said you weren't going to live through the night." She said, "They put you underneath some plastic." Okay, incubation time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to the corner church and she said, "Y'all get off your knees and come to this hospital and pray for my son with me." And they did, and that was all these people surrounding, praying for me, man. And you
Wow.
know, so that let me know, God is real, and you know who who I am to Him, who He is to me, right? Because I could never forget that. I saw
Mm-hmm.
that. I saw me. I
Mm-hmm.
saw me out of spirit, out of body. Spirit is real, because we all got spirits.
Facts.
They leave this body, they go somewhere,
That's
okay.
right.
But
Mm.
I saw myself, so I know it's real, you know. And so anyway, the book is called "It's More Than a Notion" because things that happen to you not purely coincidental. So it's been read in several school curriculums. My sister, thank you, Ibina. She's a retired special ed instructor, and she said it was always the highlight of the school year in her class because the situations in the book are things that everybody can relate to. You know, dysfunctional families,
Mhm.
survival, loss and grief, death, low self-esteem, overcoming adversities and adversaries. You understand?
Mhm.
You know, so we're trying to get it made into a script for screenplay. So I had spoken to Tim and Daphne Reed, if you remember them,
Mhm.
Spike Lee,
Okay.
uh, trying to get in contact with Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans,
Okay.
a couple other people, you know, just to let somebody see this thing and realize there's a story to be had behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
As you
indeed.
said, you know, there's no other black man on the planet that has my story as a ring announcer.
That's a
Not for
fact.
longevity and accomplishments. Been given 3 mayoral proclamations. I'm the only
Mm-hmm.
ring announcer in the Rochester, New York, and DC Boxing Hall of Fames.
Mhm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, only one that, like you said, been on the major networks, old USA Tuesday Night Fights, HBO, KO Nation, ESPN. I announced Boots Ennis out of Philadelphia on Showbox.
Mhm.
You know, I've got a story. You know, I tried to reach out to Ed Lover. You remember the name Ed
Yeah,
Lover,
I remember
MTV?
Ed Lover. Yeah.
So HBO KO Nation had hired him when they first had that format called HBO KO Nation. And, you know, basically it was a cultural thing. Everything was black. The DJ, the ring card girls, the color commentators. You know, so they hired him thinking that was going to translate into higher ratings because he had that
Mm-hmm.
MTV crowd.
That
Yeah.
Well,
European
you got to
culture.
hire the right person for the right job, though. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and God bless him. Ed Lover was nobody's ring announcer. You you know, you don't hire a dentist to work on your car. You know, you don't
Yeah.
hire a mechanic
Exactly.
to work on your teeth.
That's
The
right.
only
Yeah.
thing they have in common are grills. Oh, y'all like that?
That's
See, I
indeed.
tried to
That's
be a comedian at one time too. So anyway, when they hired Ed Lover over me, I tried to reach out to him. I said, "Well, I'm gonna try to help the brother. You know, I don't know his background of announcing. Probably not. He never responded, and he failed miserably. You know, they had enough of him. He would say things like, "We have a magnanimous decision." Yeah, that's a big decision, all right, Ed.
exactly.
But that's not the right word. Unanimous is the word. So one night, I'm watching a telecast with my son. I guess he was about 16 years old at the time. And Ed Lover, guy got knocked out, and let Ed Lover said, "We'll be right back with the decision of the judges."
No decision.
Yeah, right. My
What?
son looked at me, he said, and he's a comedian too. You'll meet him. He looked at, he said, "What decision, Dad? When he gonna wake up?"
Right?
He
Decided they're
said,
gonna take
"Dad,
him to the hospital.
yeah."
Right.
He said, "Dad, that guy got your job, don't he?" I said, "Yes, he does, son. Yes, he said, "I know what we could do." I said, "What?" He said, "We can pray about it and name and claim it." And we did. He led the
Mhm.
prayer. Don't you know, about 3 months later, they fired Ed Lover and hired me.
Oh
Wow.
wow. Nice.
Fast forward 20 years later, HBO hired for Boxing After Dark Nick Cannon to
Mm-hmm.
announce a fight. Who was it? I believe it was Andre Ward against Chad Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to reach out to Nick Cannon. I said, "Oh, this not gonna end well either. You know,
Yeah.
just because you
Yeah.
have a celebrity status don't mean you can do the job." He
That's
never
right.
responded. Well, he didn't do so well either. You know, he got up there and he introducing Chad Dawson, and this is a light heavyweight bout. He said, "Introducing the lightweight champion, Chad Dawson." And Chad looked at him and threw his hands up in the air like, "What you talking
What
about,
you
man?
doing?
You disrespecting me when I'm a lightweight,
exactly.
you know?"
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Nick ended up at Howard University recently. I tried to reach out to him again, but still didn't get a response. But you know,
Uh,
yeah, man, I got stories, lots of them. So yeah, so we're gonna try to turn the book into a script. I'm also gonna try to do like Mike Tyson did with the one man stage play. Did you ever see
okay.
Mike Tyson one
Okay.
man
Yes,
stage
Yeah.
play?
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Uh,
Yes, it
got I
was.
got the same kind of format. I got
Okay.
pictures and video, and I got the jokes and the story. So we heading down that path as well. So I'll definitely keep you posted. It's gonna be hilarious. Trust me.
Please
all
do.
right.
Please let us
Definitely.
know. So
Yeah.
where can our viewers get the book? We gonna post a link on the video on the
Okay.
YouTube. Where
Well,
can
I would like you to get it from my trunk. That's where I would like you to
okay,
get it
Okay.
from.
okay.
Okay.
That's what Master P and them said. Sell it
My
out
If
the
you want to
man.
do
trunk.
that,
Eliminate the
Hey, it's
middleman.
best way. No
You
put
middleman.
your
know?
number on there if you want us to, so they can
I
call you
put
to come get
okay.
it. If you want us to do
We'll
that,
put your IG on there.
you
Yeah.
put your
They can
IG
hit you on
information
IG.
on there for them to get you then.
Ring Announcer Jones. That's
There
my
it
IG.
is.
Ring Announcer Jones.
Yes,
And
indeed.
the email is the real KO Kid at
There it is.
gmail.com. So yeah, hit me up. Actually the book is free, but the autograph costs $20, and you can't have one
Uh,
without the other.
That's right.
man.
You
That's
understand?
right. There it
So
Oh
is.
man.
so yeah, as I said, everybody can relate to it in some way, shape, or form, man. I was out there in the street. Thank God, allowed me to survive it. I got to DC in '82, as I said, and I didn't have any family friends, so I'm out there wilding. I thought
Mhm.
I was in a paradise with all these women. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
oh man,
Yes, indeed.
I got some stories. And then, I experiment with the drugs, and
Yeah.
I thought I was smoking a joint with this guy, in New York back in the day.
Uh,
My wild weed smoking days, we had something called Columbo.
Okay.
mhm.
Well, I hit this joint with this guy, and it was a Friday. We going just like today. Matter of fact, most things that happen bad to me happen on Fridays.
Friday's crazy.
I just thought about that. My God. So okay, so we at Holgate's. You remember the
Uh-huh.
hotel down in Southwest, the
Yes,
club
Mhm.
indeed.
Holgate's.
Yeah.
So it's a Friday evening, and I always get Natalie attired, dressed to the nines on Fridays going out. I got the dress to
Uh-huh.
impress. You understand?
Yeah.
So I hit this joint with the dude. I'm in line talking to this girl. I start taking off my clothes.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Yeah, I
oh
know what that
Took
man.
off the
was.
I
jacket,
know what it was.
Yeah.
took off the shirt, took
Oh
off the
man, you done had a
undershirt.
sack.
Yeah.
So people starting to laugh. And the guy that gave it to me, he had his back turned to me talking to this girl, and maybe about 15 yards away. And he turned around, saw it was me. He ran up to me, said, "Oh man, he told people, that's my man." No, he said, "Put your clothes back on. I'm gonna go inside and get you some milk." Milk? I said, "Man, bring me the Hennessy, Jack Daniels, something." So he brought the milk back. He said, "Just drink the milk, man." So I humored him, drank the milk. So he said, "You like that feeling, don't you?" I said, "No, no, I don't like that feeling." Then I looked at him, and you ever see Tales from the Hood?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Horn started growing out of his head in front of me like that, tripping. Psychologically speaking, my demons were coming out of him. You
No,
understand?
Right,
yeah.
right.
Behavioral science. See?
Yeah.
So I started running. He rode with me. So I started running to where I parked the car. He said, "Where you going?" I said, "I just remember I had something to do." He said, "But I rode with you." I said, "You got to get a ride home, man. I got to go." Trying to get home. I'm paranoid. Now I used
Yeah.
to live up Petworth area. So from
Okay.
Southwest to
Yeah.
Petworth, that's a good little ways.
So that's a
Yeah,
hump.
it
I
Yeah.
is. You
started
got a little
driving.
ride. Yeah.
Man, I'm going like this is, I thought I was going like this in slow motion. So then I'm zooming around people because I'm
Oh
thinking this
wow.
is
Wow. Wow.
tripping. So this how I wrote it up in book, and that's what the kids like because sometimes you got to read a passage a couple times or maybe 3 times to understand it.
Mhm.
You know where the intersection of Georgia and New Hampshire Avenue
Most definitely. Most
Okay.
definitely.
That's the heart of Petworth right there.
Right, right.
30, oof, 37 years ago, it was a 4-corner stop sign there. Now it's a light.
It's a light, yeah.
37 years ago, I'm trying to get home. All I got to do is make this right-hand turn on New Hampshire, and I lived on 2nd Street. I'm home.
Okay. All right.
But I had 2 tickets. So I said, man, I can't turn right now against this light. I was waiting at the stop sign, waiting for the
to
stop
turn
sign to turn green.
green.
And I was there for about 2 minutes, which is a long time to be out your mind.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So people blowing their horns, going around me. I was like, I forget you. I got 2 tickets. I'm waiting on this light.
I'm not waiting on this light. Yo.
So this motorcycle cop, I saw him in my rear view. He coming straight down, the line. And I said, oh, I bet he coming for me. Sure enough, he came right up to me. He said, what you doing? You got traffic backed up all the way to Howard University. He looked at me and said, oh, you on that stuff, huh? Pull over. And as God would have it, and throughout the book has been a series of divine intervention, man. He got a call on the walkie-talkie and had to leave. Because he busted me. And so, yeah. So I never did that again. I did some other things, but I never do that again, because as I said, I didn't know what I was smoking. I thought it was Colombo, and it was boat.
Boat.
Boat. Yeah, sack. Yeah, it was sack. Yeah.
He had that, he had that drawl, that I didn't understand him. Said, you want some of this boat? Sound like boat to me.
They say boat,
right,
yeah.
Right.
He didn't enunciate like I do. Boat.
Yeah. Where's the T, man? You ain't dropping T.
I saw that guy about probably about 15 years later. I never saw him again until 15 years later. And it was at a cookout. And I told him what happened. He said, I was wondering, man, why you left me that day. And I said, yeah, my apology, man, but I was paranoid. He said, I got so involved with it, I had to go into rehab. I said, wow.
Oh, man.
And so he's good now, but see, and that's why I try to teach the youth, man. They don't know what they get nowadays, and the number one killer is what? Fentanyl.
Fentanyl is
Fentanyl.
Streets up, man.
They don't know what they get nowadays, man. So
you know what it is.
Yeah, so
fentanyl is a plague.
It is. So I got the fight tomorrow, like you said, at Rosecroft with Lamont Roach Sr. No Excuse Promotions. Thank you, Lamont, for bringing me on board. It's gonna be like that. Hey, you could cut that with a knife at the weigh-in today. So get your tickets. Come on out. Next week, I go up to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Black promoter up there by the name Jason Bryant, Jab Promotions, former CFL, XFL, and CFL football star, and he's having a fight at his high school alma mater, Steelton High Spire High School, in the gymnasium. And so I contacted the principal of the school to ask them if they had a Black History Month program. She says, as a matter of fact, we do, and we don't have a keynote speaker. Well, I'm now the keynote speaker. Isn't that something?
Yes,
Ain't that a blessing?
That's a blessing.
So it's going to be the same stories, motivational spiel that we just talked about that I'm going to give the kids. And it's going to be a lesson for life that's going to be indelibly etched in their mind to empower them, because that's what this is all about, man. So indeed. Thank you, Jab Promotions. Thank you, Principal Cordero. And after that, I'm at Maryland Live Casino, Tony Jetter.
Yes,
Caucasian promoter. See what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed. Good guy.
That's when is that? February 18th. February 18th. And then after that is March 18th, as I mentioned, with Cujo in Waynesville, Virginia. Then after that, March 25th in DC with new promoter Eric Davis, Davis
Okay.
Boxing Promotions.
Mm.
And the list goes on. So I'm booked all the way through September. Isn't that
That's
a
great.
blessing, man?
Nice.
That's
Nice.
great, bro. That's great.
So
Yeah.
manifesting, dream is being manifested just like I prayed about. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you for
indeed.
supporting me and letting me get this out.
Anytime, brother. So,
Uh,
me and C's always talk about the state of boxing for fighters in terms of mental health.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
you saw them all from
Yeah,
different different eras. So,
yeah.
um, what's your take on the state of the mental health and our concerns with mental health of boxers after boxing?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, you don't play boxing, as you know,
mm,
because you did participate. You played other sports. You don't play this thing. And from an early age, you're getting hit in the head, even with headgear. That's second,
mm-hmm,
syndrome concussion sometimes.
Mhm.
So
mm-hmm,
just think, somebody that's been in the game, as an amateur at, let's just say, even 10 years old.
Mhm.
Now
mm-hmm.
you 30 plus years old. So you've been getting hit for 25 years, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
So you got to think, just like with the NFL, with those collisions, you're going to have a little degenerative conditions going on.
Mm-hmm,
A lot of times, fighters don't fare well after their career is over with because they haven't been primed, they haven't been mentored to do something else.
yeah.
And they miss that limelight. And a lot of them try to
Mm-hmm,
come back because they missed that limelight. And we see
mm-hmm,
it ends terribly, for the
mm-hmm,
majority of them, or they just stayed too long in the game, and that ended up terrible as well. Boxing
mm-hmm.
is the only sport that doesn't have pension plans, health insurance benefits, the whole nine, and it needs it more than any other sport. It
Yes,
needs
Yeah,
it.
indeed.
We've
yeah.
been trying to get it, but this one CEO of an insurance company, he told me, think about it. Why would we want to pay out? Why would we want to do that to somebody we
Mm-hmm.
know is going to get hurt?
You hurt.
That's
Yeah.
not what insurance was set
Sad.
up
That's
for.
not what it's, that's not the business. That's not the
Isn't that
business.
deep though? They said
That's
we
Yeah,
don't
fact.
want
it's
to do
sad.
that.
It's sad. It's
That's
It
fact.
crazy.
is sad. And you think
Mhm.
about it, how often have you used your own car insurance, let's say, in 20, 30 years? Maybe a
Yeah,
couple
Right.
yeah.
times.
Couple
But
of
how
Mm-hmm.
much
times.
have you
Yeah.
given them? Okay?
Plenty.
Man.
It's about making
Plenty.
money.
It's the same thing. They said, no, it's not what we do, So what we have to do with boxing is we have to prepare them for life after the sport. We have to
That's
make
right.
sure that their mental health is intact while they're competing. Prime example is my good friend Tank Davis,
Mhm.
man. I've been knowing him
Mm-hmm.
since he was a kid, 8, 9 years old. I saw
Right.
the unmistakable talent at an early age. I said, he gonna be
Mm-hmm.
champ. I said that when he
Right.
Mm-hmm.
was a teenager, you know.
Right.
I announced his last amateur fight. I announced his first pro fight. Now
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
he's split from Mayweather. He's got GTD promotions. So hopefully we can circle back because he wants me to announce. But
Yeah.
the powers that be would
Yeah.
not allow
You know how it is.
let me announce him. But now we got a chance to rectify all that with, he and Coach Calvin and Coach Kenny Ellis. So looking
Okay.
forward to that. But he's a young man that grew up in a rough area, Baltimore, Sandtown area, and with a mother that was had some substance abuse problems. He'll tell you that
Mhm.
narrative. It's not a secret. And they did
Mm-hmm.
the best that they can. So he was out on the street at an early age, and I guess he wasn't mentored to express his emotions in
Yeah.
a way that was nonviolent.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the opposite sex. And so we've
Yeah.
seen instances where he hasn't handled that well. Now,
Yeah.
hopefully, he will handle it better going forward because he has everything to lose.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
Everything to lose. And, he's the only fighter that's selling out arenas, not
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
um, just clubs show type situations and casinos. He's selling out arenas, man.
Yeah.
People don't do that. You know,
Not even.
Ali back in
Not
the day, Mike
much.
Tyson back in the day,
Right.
but nobody but him right now. You know, except for maybe Tyson Fury over in England, something like that. But over here in the
Yeah.
United States, he's the number one attraction. Make no mistake about it. So we want to see him do well, but we want to know that his mental health is intact as well. So if he has to get help for that, he needs to do that right now going forward. And it shouldn't be any shame, any stigma, any stereotype of asking for help. You know, black men, we don't do that. We don't do that. We think it's, you know, a sign of weakness that we soft. Nothing soft about wanting mental health, you know,
That's right.
help. And that's what we need to do. So, you know, I'm using my platform as a master's degree social worker to help those who I know need help. So over the years, I've been able to mentor many, you know, Too Sharp, you know, I won't name any other names, just Too Sharp, because he and I have a special bond. You know,
Yes, indeed.
I wrote him when he was doing that downtime down in Petersburg. And I told him, I said, you're going to be champ again. I said, God giving you a serious message that you got to heed, you
Yes,
know,
indeed.
just for you. I said, you're going to be champ again. And sure enough, he wrote me back. He said, man, if I was in any other place but here, I would have cried when I read your letter.
Wow.
Appreciate the money, you know, for my books and everything. He said, and I believe you. I'm gonna be champion. And sure enough, he came out and he became champion again.
Nice.
And Too Sharp, you know, was like a little brother to me, man. You know, I didn't know him from Adam, but when I announced his first fight at Coolidge High School back in 1988, when I first started, I saw it then. I said, "Oh, he's special." So afterwards, he said, "Man," he said, and I told him, I said, "You're gonna be champ one day." He said, "You see it too?" And when he said two, that
You
let me
already
know
knew.
he had the vision for himself.
You
So,
already
You know,
knew.
already knew.
already knew. He said, "Man, that was real slick how you introduced me, man. That pumped me up." And you know, he had a sensational knockout. He said, "And when I become champ, I'm gonna make sure you my ring announcer when I announce at home on TV." And he made both our dreams come true 10 years later,
Nice.
1998, February
Yes, indeed.
22nd, at that DC Army fight that you attended. You know,
Yes,
so
indeed. I was there.
that's right. You know, so we have a new generation of fighters. I'm blessed to still be here announcing fights of the children of former fighters. You know, and it's just so surreal, man. And I
There's
could
a
tell
lot
them
of
about
them.
their dad, you know,
Yes, indeed.
you know, the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
You
indeed.
know, so it's a blessing, but people don't realize that back in the mid early to mid 90s, we had more world champions,
There we
more
go.
world class contenders than any city in the history of boxing at one time. Too Sharp, William Joppy Jr., Keith Holmes, Sean Bay Mitchell, Too Sharp Johnson, Demarcus Chop Chop Corley, Riddick Bowe was here,
Yeah.
Andrew Maynard, of course, Sugar Ray, you know,
Yeah.
he's
Right,
number one
Reggie.
guy.
Yeah.
That's right. And then the world class contenders, Daryl Coley,
Yes,
Daryl
indeed.
Tyson, Reggie Green,
Yes, indeed.
Andrew Council. List goes on and on, man. We had it
Yep.
going on. So what I tried to do
Uh,
is get the promoters together and form a consortium to lock it down, because TV was coming here like every 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, guys, you know, but you know, promoters didn't want to come together. Everybody wanted to own the pie instead of sharing the pie. And you know, once fighters started losing, that was it. So we got a new generation of fighters now. So I'm excited to see the growth. And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, you'll see. We got some prospects.
Yes, indeed. I
Got
will
some.
definitely be in
Yes,
the
we
building
do.
tomorrow. I'm not gonna do no working and no interviewing. I'm just gonna sit down and enjoy these.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna sit
Okay.
down and chill and
That's
enjoy
right.
the fights incognito. I might have the hood over my head and just watch it. And
And
I
you
said I'm
tell
not
me
gonna.
afterwards who you were
I re-
impressed with.
I
I want to
will
hear who
do.
you're impressed with because I
I
got a
will
couple of
do.
people in mind, but I don't
I
want to
will
say their
do.
names right now.
Yes, indeed. 'Cause that's what I want to do. I don't want. I just want to sit there and study each of the
That's right.
fighters, and I will definitely give them a shout out when I'm on my way home and stuff like that,
Okay,
and do a
that's
do
good.
an analysis on the next day from it. So
Well, I don't know
yeah.
how incognito you gonna be tomorrow because I'm gonna give you a shout out. That's right. That's right. So, pull it or not, they gonna know you in his house.
I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try, man. I appreciate it, though,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Man, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on here. Like I say, 1993, Hillcrest Boxing Gym. You was at the Golden Gloves Championship. I
Wow.
was a junior at the age of 14 years old, and
Mm,
I had to, and what's so crazy. Sugar Ray Leonard's trainer, Dave Jacobs, worked my corner that day, which was a one dream, as well as you announcing my fight.
wow.
It made my
Wow.
day. It made my day as a
Wow.
JO fighter for you to announce my fight, man.
And you won.
And I won. I stopped the guy first round too.
Right? Wow. Yeah, you took me back. Man, I got shoes older than you, man. What you
Yes,
talking about?
and it was an honor, brother. Man, you're welcome here anytime. And of course you've been on the DMV boxing legend one when we have when we lose a soldier to the ring or soldier to life, and
Right.
everyone you always on, and when we do our dedications to fighters and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on the second win, what we do is we have a like we do panels,
A panel series. Yeah.
panel
Okay.
series of different who we think the best pound for pound fighter, things of that nature. Sometimes we talk about mental health. We'll talk about uh, finances of fighters, that what can we do to create pension plans or teach investments and things of that nature. So I would love
Okay.
for you to come on here on some of them panels and give your expertise to it
Love to.
as well.
Absolutely. Please keep me in mind. I would love to do that, man. Because certainly financial literacy is the key, because we've seen a lot of fighters win money, but they didn't keep it.
Keep
They
it.
didn't keep it. And, the first thing is to pay Uncle Sam, you know,
Mm.
because he going to get his 33 and a third. So just because,
Exactly.
you fighting for $1 million don't mean you're a millionaire.
That's a fact.
That's
That's a
right.
fact.
So, yeah.
That's a
So,
fact.
absolutely. Please keep me in mind. I
Will
welcome that.
do, brother. Well, man, Siege, you got anything you want to say?
Well, I just got one quick question I wanted to ask you. What what are some of the things you think can be done to introduce young black men into your profession, so that
Mm.
we can, what's some things you could do to
As announcing,
introduce young black as announcers?
I'm glad you asked that. Wow.
Great
Look at
question.
this. Look at this. Can you see this? The golden microphone.
Uh huh.
My sister gave me this. So,
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm going to do is I'm going to have open auditions around the country for ring announcers. It's going, and we're trying to get it as a reality show. Can you imagine the hilarity that will ensue with people coming out to audition
Oh
and
wow.
different? Yeah, somebody gonna like this. And so on the local level, we're gonna be in the schools to teach them not just about but about communication. You know, to speak properly so you can get a job interview to get that
Mm-hmm.
job. It's a time and place for everything, even ebonics, but not when you're going for a job interview. You
For
don't want to
job
scare
Right.
interview,
people
yeah.
away. You know,
That's right.
so I've got a couple schools that are interested, and we're going to use that as a springboard to talk about conflict resolution. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
guns down and gloves up concept.
Okay.
To talk about what healthy relationships look like, goal setting. There's so many scholarships out here, man, that they're trying to give away, but we can't find people to give them to. and that's sad. It really is sad. Now I'm not saying
Yeah.
that college is for everybody because it's not, but you can do something. Vocational training needs to come back. You know, um, Auto mechanics, heating and
I
air
agree.
conditioning. Construction, carpentry. We can find
Hmm.
some. You got to let us know what you're interested in, so we can match
Mm.
your skill set and your interests. With
That's
what's
right.
out there, so you can make honest money every day. When I
Mm.
was a social worker in DC government, working with youth, I had this one youth who would steal cars all the time, hot wire 'em.
Mm.
I mean, gone in 60 seconds. He was like
Wow.
that. I said, "So you really have an interest in cars, don't you?" He said, "Yeah, I do. I just know just about everything about them." I said, "Well, why don't we get you into automotive class so
Mhm.
you can become a certified mechanic and make honest money every day?" He said, "I never thought about it like that."
Oh.
He became that. He
Yes,
became that.
indeed.
That's right.
Yeah.
See,
Yes,
another
indeed.
guy used to skip school and just stay home or go over his friend's house and play the video games. It was Grand Theft Auto at the time. Then
Mhm.
Hmm.
Fortnite, I guess, is the big one now, right?
Mhm.
He wouldn't. I said, "So are you good doing that?" He said, "I'm the best. I play for money and win all the time." I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, so you kind of bored with school and you really interested in
Mhm.
this video world?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You know something? I make a deal with you. You get back in school, stay in school, get passing grades. I'll try to get you an internship with EA Sports." He said,
Mhm.
"You kidding?" I said, "No, I don't kid. I joke
Yeah.
and play, but I don't kid."
That's
Yeah.
right.
I was able to do that. He held up his end of the bargain. I held up my end of the bargain. And I got him a summer
Nice.
internship with EA Sport. Isn't that
That's
something?
Nice.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
what you give your hour to is what you give your power to.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Okay? So you got to
Yeah.
find out what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you're interested in, what you're not interested in, and go forward to just incentivize yourself so you can monetize your wealth.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's
indeed.
philosophy about things. So, I would like to work with you gentlemen, to work with our youth in the city, in the
Yes, indeed.
DMV area, because they need us more than ever.
I
But
agree.
yeah.
I agree. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 a necessary need. I think we need to bring more gyms. Like I was explaining yesterday on our show, me and C's had yesterday, where more boxers. If you feel like it's a void that you're missing, this is your
Hmm.
time to give back to the youngins and perpetuate the sport to the next level where we can have go. I remember the Golden Gloves would be 5 weeks,
Yes.
20
Yes.
fights, 5 weeks, 20 fights a
Yep.
week,
Yep.
literally 200 fights a tournament. Now
Yep.
you can barely get 5 fights for 2 days.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
this is our time that former fighters that's been to nationals, international level, we can come back, build new gyms, or talk to whoever's running the recreation. Say, listen, it's an empty rec with the room in there. Can I have that room? And we all put 20 more rooms, 20 more teams together so we can build and occupy the mindsets of these youngins. Because that's
Mhm.
the
Hmm.
problem. Like, that's what saved me was
Yeah.
Hmm.
the fact that my father noticed that this boy got a little, he just need to burn off some of this energy.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And guess what? Boxing was the answer.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
boxing was such a veil to me. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So because that's what created that. That's what created that. I got a tournament to win. I got to stay away from them guys because I'm not trying
Hmm.
to jeopardize my future.
That's right.
Imagine the youth having that same abilities
Mhm.
to have that same veil,
Yeah.
force field, as they call it in the cartoon world,
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
to protect them from the streets.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
all we need is 1,000. That's all we need is 1,000 fighters to bring forth, and we can change this whole city. I believe.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I like
So
that a lot. Matter of fact, if I may, do you know who's over all of the the gyms now for in the city in DC?
I I was told, was it buried
That's
under?
exactly right. That's exactly. So I
Okay.
think he'd be receptive with what you just said. I really do.
Okay.
Mm.
So we
Okay.
probably need to have a sit down, flesh it out, to see how feasible this thing could be, and just have a program, you
Yeah.
know, a multifaceted program academically and athletically,
That's
you
right.
know, to reach out to them and to connect them, with the incentive, with some vocational job training, with scholarships, the whole nine. I'm with
Exactly.
that, man. I am. I am. That's what
Likewise.
I'm living
Likewise.
for. Okay. 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 I'm gonna reach out
Likewise.
to. I'm gonna reach out to him and see if we can have a sit down and go over there and just kick it. And get
Okay.
like spirited brothers together because iron
Yeah.
sharpen iron, and
Yes,
Mm.
indeed.
these youth need
Definitely.
to see us. To
That's
be us,
facts.
they need to see us.
That's
Mm.
facts. That's facts. Count me in. I'm ready.
Okay.
I that young lady that we talked about earlier had opened up my eyes. I was staying away for a while, but when I saw that, I said I can no longer stay away any longer because um,
Yeah.
for her to say that her son had to be the man of the household just
Yeah.
struck something in me that
Yeah.
I know, my kids have me, but it's now to the point where we all have to step up and be fathers for those that don't have fathers.
That's
Mm.
right. That's exactly right. Surrogate. That's exactly right. And
Exactly.
I tell you how that true that is. So, and I think that's where my passion comes from to continue to do what I do. Uh, I was mentoring this young man, and then I knew he was out on the street, and I was trying to get him to turn his life around. He said, "Man, I can't go to McDonald's, man. I'm pulling in the grip every day.
Yeah.
I can't go to McDonald's, man." I said, "I understand that, but you know, this is dead end, man. Let me just be perfectly honest with you. You're gonna have to give this up because it's not gonna end well." He
Right.
said, "I know, man, but right now, I just got to take the chance." Okay. I said, "Well, look, just call me, man. Call me." At the time, this was like 20 something years ago. We didn't have the cell phones then.
Okay.
So I gave my office number. Well, I read the paper every day. I've read the paper every day for the last 50 years. I'm obsessed like that. I want to stay up to date on stuff,
That's
because
right.
the news only give you what they want you to hear. I want to see
Right.
the details in the
Mm.
paper.
Right.
I've
Right.
clicked out articles and contacted people and got jobs and
Right.
speaking engagements and whatever. Right. So anyway, I'm reading the paper. Now I had just spoken to him Friday. I'm reading the paper Monday morning at my job, and his name was in the paper that he had gotten killed Sunday night. I said, "Oh man, I
Wow.
don't
Wow.
believe this."
Man.
Right? So, that threw me for a loop. I got on the phone listening to messages. He left a message for me that Sunday night.
Oh man.
Wow.
That Sunday night. He got killed Sunday night. He called me
Oh.
right before it happened.
Oh
Wow.
man.
And I was like, wow, I might have been able to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Go home. Get away from that situation, man.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that empowers me to this day, man, to try to do something for somebody, not just somebody, for as many as I can, for as
Right.
long as I can.
Right.
That's it.
Uh,
Man, brother, this was a wonderful segment, man. To have you
uh,
on here, man. I
definitely.
truly
Definitely.
appreciate it, and we'll have you on here again many times.
I sure appreciate you, man. Thank
Ladies
you
and
so much.
gentlemen, we have no other than the first African American major
Hmm.
ring announcer, the one and only Henry Discombobulating Jones, ladies and gentlemen, the second win boxing media. Peace.
And
Peace.
love.